to this computer? Okay, fine. Good morning, everyone. So today we'll start reading comprehension, RC. So RC aptitude reading comprehension aptitude aptitude. Now, CG RC aptitude sida koina tawudusi kaina the kahini akhoi ne hanadai khangakpa knowledge ko akhoi GS ki knowledge adu the lakpa biases kayam panbya disida within the context of the passage ko akhoi piramiba passage to aduda hangaiba aduda yawba potu khatang khakta based toga khungbadoini akoina akoigi oiba tongan ba biases sing sizinaba yadeba ko ana akoina reading comprehension aptitude se koina some id fundamental oina koina topic khara khaidok pe ai ko si kai kai no have the koina critical reasoning the implicit statements si kai no then cause and effect kai no ko aduaina adugumba duda koina kai ni thugai raga nei na ba yadini ko so akoina kai do we have the main oina koina sida late tawgado is critical reasoning critical reasoning lay then again akoina kai do we have the implicit statements si kai no implicit statement so implicit statement have si kai no have the akoina word ani khak lay ko implicit haiba ma amana kai no explicit haiba ma explicit oiba have the crystal clear straightforward oiba explicit for example let's say kani ai chak chare guys again ai adu do char ba have the chare si explicit oire ko something like that yam clear oina chare direct have the implicit have directly the hide ba but kano di to hai tare ko but kani pong di pong dok ba hai tare koi thuga pong dok da ko aduduna kai ko we have the implicit statement oiduni ba ko aduna so akoi kano to si ko example to kanda dum masam tan user ani ko so we'll study about the implicit statement and then we'll do the cause and effect cause and effect then already kedawa akoina overall oina comprehension ki kasum la ani ko so let's proceed ko adan to si ngai ko yar male ko aduna sarna si kano to ko 1 second ko I see the kano tangena to just okay yare ko so aduna akoina zikta kedowa reasoning comprehension aptitude si critical reasoning si kamain to akoina critical reasoning to gani then implicit statements si kaino then cause and effect relationship ko in RC the aptitude hai tare ko si kai le have the yeng do ni ko aduna koi first akoina critical thinking critical reasoning so we'll do critical reasoning now critical reasoning is the akoina again kaino critical reasoning have si have matam da akoina given passage ama le ni da ko so si given passage si dagi akoina within the framework of the passage passage to mapan thok di sungya yaroi ko ano within the framework of the passage dagi akoina answer ji khum ga doine ba passage ta hairam ba man ba haidi hairam da pot se koi heta khum gal le ba ko ado akoi gi common knowledge dagi seasoner ga khum ba ju yawi adu ju khum ba yade ko aduna kaidawi ha matam da koina kaidawa passage ta hang ba pot to katang khum ga doine ba for example syllogism syllogism the syllogism is also reasoning and reading comprehension is also a part of reasoning never auna koina syllogism da koi hanagi edi all cats are dogs ka haji again magi bhairami poto katang ne koin low du adu chumen low dene akoina asidi lali hajilu ya pote ko sumai to na koi gi reading comprehension da author na ka piri ba passage to adu du katang follow to dine ba akoigi knowledge hapsan be yade noina hayeng successful any civil servant haitare ko after you crack this exam after you become a civil servant you will you'll have to read lots and lots of complaints lots and lots of applications lots and lots of reports you have to make your ID again you yourself have to make lots and lots of reports ꯑꯗꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯗꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯇꯧꯔꯛꯀꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯤ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯋꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤ ꯄꯣꯏꯟꯇ ꯅꯠꯇꯕꯤꯗꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯇꯧꯔ ꯂꯩꯕꯗꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯏꯁꯥꯁꯤ ꯀꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤ ꯀꯟꯐ꯭ꯌꯨꯁ ꯑꯣꯏꯔ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯌꯥꯗꯦꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯐꯣꯔ ꯑꯦꯛꯖꯥꯝꯄꯜ ꯑꯩꯉꯣꯟꯗ ꯀꯝꯄ꯭ꯂꯦꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒꯅ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯂꯤꯀꯦꯁꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯔꯤꯄꯣꯔꯠ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯀꯜ ꯑꯃ ꯄꯥꯔꯦ ꯀꯣ ꯏꯝꯄꯣꯔꯇꯦꯟ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯄꯣꯠ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯀꯤ ꯋꯤꯗꯤꯟ ꯗ ꯐ꯭ꯔꯦꯝꯋꯔꯛ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗꯦꯠ ꯄꯦꯁꯦꯖ ꯑꯣꯔ ꯗꯦꯠ ꯑꯥꯔꯇꯤꯀꯜ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯀꯩ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄꯦꯁꯦꯖꯁꯤꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤꯡꯉꯤꯁꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯅ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯀꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤ ꯑꯥꯏ ꯍꯦꯚ ꯇꯨ ꯌꯨꯁ ꯃꯥꯏ aptitude haitare reasoning aptitude sinaraga koina keno tawgodoinebako hajiki passage sudagi koina kedowa passage ta piriba point sing do koina loction gadoineba aduga koina kehni keno tawbo yadeba for example koina critical reasoning the story is kedobai story no hamada koigi own biases mayam layeba mi khudimang lay aizu lay noizu lay ni ko everyone ana akoigi biases sing sizinaba yadeba ko table da purakko matamda nangna policy program ama design to matamda natragna report ama nangna thagat kadaba matamda ai own biases adu sizinaba yadeba exactly ground report to as it is thagat kadoini and mina kainoma ira idu as it is adu ain lotion gadoini ai biases kar panjillaga adu potu da sumaina कहनी मान कनम इरागा आइना अदुदा तोर आई बाइसेस न ट्राई हाना दे खंग लाको पोट अमा अदुदुना ओवर कहनी शेडो तोसन बदो अदु तो वे याद देबको सिगी पॉइंट सिंग नोय फजना फॉलो तो बिराबा देन सर न जी क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग जी कई कई खंग गदी यानी न खर खाइदोर किनी को अदु गइदुगा नोय न फजना फॉलो तो बिराबा देन you will get 100% right in any type of kedoba reading comprehension question ko so let's see the critical reasoning ji koina kamaina to we age yengsi ka so first let's try to know what is the premise ka premise premise or premise I don't know my pronunciation zip ka I think premise na pabra sige is P R E M I S E ka it's not P R I it's P R E then koina second we will talk about assumptions ka assumption dang hai ka and in third we'll talk about inference and fourth we'll talk about conclusion yare ko so si gai si adukimatik maru oi haitare ko so we'll begin with premise the height to ja height to ka here I is again ka so let's know this no I know ko let's see the meaning of the word what happened yung ko si the ko let me just go premise game I can go premise and pagado okay and premise in a verb got to premise and noun in a premise and pagado so what's a premise so premise again moin is the verb in a hierarchy means something taken as being true or factual and used as a starting point for a course of action or reasoning and a this is the definition so then a critical reasoning to matamda premise kai oidino hai matamda ko akoina critical reasoning si kedo we have the logical conclusion amada lakadoineba akoina gyan tai ko aduna akoina ziki given passage si careful evaluation tawrni magi mangonda yauba kahni data mayama ko then again mangonda again ziki passage si dasu assumption adum yarum ni ko I hope it's on record yes ko aduna kedo we have the passage to the data yarum ni assumption yarum ni inference yarum ni conclusions yarum ni and premise yarum ni ko so high sing sisina premise ni sisina assumption ni sisina inference ni sisina conclusion ni habisi akoi tugai khangba ngamgadam yamna basic oibini ko sanitize and then it applies to each and every passage each and every passage ta si mari maksi loina yauni have the leite adubu any passage ta ko yauriba sing do either of these four parts si part mari si marak sida ahum khatang yaubi ai ani khatang yaubi ai ama khatang yaubi ai khangde ko ka ama dang yaubudi adu passage ko ya ra ko aduna natraga premise ngata yarum jai ko so whatever so adumaina legadine na kuina kari no ji khangadine again conclusion draw to matam da premise dagi draw to gadini assumption dagi draw to yade audagi inference ko inference amka kari de lakadino premise ka assumption ga ani ji punsala inference lakadini auna adu sing do koina fazana critical reasoning haije sisineba critical reasoning haije ko adu fazana hairaga di khangagadi noi dum sure shot ta any question attempt tawda adum soidana chummaneba ko so adumai legadini and quiz 9:30 tare so we have about 1 hour ko 1 hour 10:30 powa class it tawgadini ko and I have an interview at 11 so aduna keno tawzi ko 1 hour da nang tawzi ko so premise lere okay fine mathangda akoina premise kaino na ko yengzi ko premise kaino ni yengzi aduna a premise is a statement that is assumed to be true and from which a conclusion can be drawn on a high gadoni ko koi gi a premise sorry a premise just okay fine si hai to de yaar si hai to sala si hai to sala ge ka that is assumed to be true and from which a conclusion can be drawn. And this class is on record. I know have the very. I was planning to take this class on Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Aduna ay kitang ay di kaya ni ko ngasay yu katang kag kano to ni ko sa luhang na sana RC class tu ngasi dum lo biro kot biro na da harap pa tare ko sir di mung zi Christmas ki yum the chat chat kani have something like that ko no have not available or aduna have to the issue dum padi kano to hoy ni yes dum high grade ko sir na so aduna so adu ni ko anyway fine Thursday the wudu kitang chakhale aduna kitang thuna luarni most probably handa week the luarni ko keno je CSAT se kantai ko kaino the reasoning in number series ka the blood relation then direction sense there's blah blah du khara katang awre ko so again now let's come to this topic ko premise what's a premise is a statement that is assumed to be true and from which a conclusion can be drawn ko so CC this is very important and then CC khangzelo aduga I'll give an example here ka example si kay haisige hay matamda ka example si kay haisige duna let's say ka kena to si ka example si kadawa duna I'll just give ka mogi kaina sir na hana ka sir gi material da yawa example da dun pige ka unfit players are ka or unfit players are kedoba a keni ka keno do koi team da keno oibido ka potlum mo oibido ka so unfit players adu habi mo to ka unfit players hamper the progress harge ka hamper the progress of ka the team unfit players kedoba hamper the progress of the entire team ka and makada that is the reason yeah I'm sorry 시든 남절로 해야 되네 okay fine and that is the reason see kedo any certain the namjalu ka and that is the reason ka let's say kedo wa a class the yaudaba maming ama ka Ka Suraj. Anyway, so see how the maming again. And there is a reason. Cái này có Chinglen cái hai cái có Chinglen cái đóว่า should not be cái đóว่า selected in the team. Should not be selected in the team. So mine hai có. So sige sida akoina what do you mean by premise? Hai matam there. Premise is a statement that is assumed to be true and from which a conclusion can be drawn. So unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. There is a reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team and I have never got. So see the premise kaino. Unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. Sig is a given premise never. Can they go statement ama piram and CC akoina chumbalan sidum chumen lo ni ko kasi sida unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. So CC completely completely illogical oiba statement oiba taragasu state sigi the piram batara de kuin chumen adum lo ni ko passage sida id jiki authors in am strong in hajari direct si pura kaino ne ko any affirmative statement never unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. So this is the premise, and that is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team. And adudi season marga Chinglen ji team the selector oidabani in a have never. So adudi can we safely say that Chinglen is an unfit player? Yes or no, ma'am? Yabra dabra. Hello? Tabra? Okay, cheto in kumeko. Josie Benton, 9:36 p.m.
Yeah,
No one had ever got any other participant. Ataidi, Rahul, Chauba, Mahesh, Donaldson, Chinglemba, Sanjana, Suraj, Ka, Degi, Josibanta, Vikas, Ka. Okay. Ma'am, Hainero. Ay, kano daw ba, sige po, si Sim, kano si Mamang gusto, hangdi-hangraw ni Ka. So, kaya we have the sige sida Chinglen se, sisi, kaya ba, he is an unfit player, have si, kung assume to, but the yabra yadabra. Yes or no? Kayo ka ang kumagtisa. Advanced sharing option change. What's the big deal? CC the Silero. Like a crazy screen you can autograph. Mirror late autograph. Guide is screen mirror late autograph my screen. Ani set provoking to is say do the ACC minimize story do the yeah has a guy car. So is the as you can no sir and I have a car. Okay, fine. So a queen in net. As you give the kind of what is a premise to car. Now let's do what's an assumption. Assumption sida akoina haigidisi kaino have matamda sigi sida kai lay have the yung ko sisi mana explicitly mentioned it to deva Chinglen is an unfit player again they got but unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. There is a reason and mana saying na Chinglen should not be selected in the team mana. So why Chinglen is not selected in the team haragadi? Because Chinglen is an unfit player. Kaino di mana fazana clearly haramebako. So Chinglen is an Chinglen is an unfit player. Have see this is kaino have this is an kadoba kahene assumption oigadura inference oigadura na adu potudong lakadini ko. The mana sida kaino kaino to iba. Sige ani je club to oragadi Chinglen unfit player ni as you can infer to way tare ko inference low way tare adumaina lakadini ko aduna akoina what is an assumption ni matang da kitang haige ko So an assumption is a statement an assumption is a statement which can either be true or false. This is the important way. Which can either be true or false, but is but is accepted as true pull up sum but is accepted as true only for the purpose of the argument. Only for the purpose of the argument na sumana hairse but argument which follows na sumana hairge which follows sumana hairni so aduna kaidoni habda is the point masam tanga haige an assumption no isu notes adum okay sir na budi si print no na budi available halakani aduna pare an assumption is that and an assumption is that although bearing an explicit mention is taken for granted and on the basis of which a conclusion is drawn na una assume tawribze nasagi premise le ani ko statement za de akoina assume torni si true ne na aduga akoina conclusion lakadune ba aduna si the line amtang hapke an assumption is that which is taken which is taken to be true, accepted as true only for the purpose of the argument which follows. An assumption is is a statement on the basis of which a conclusion is drawn. Not a big deal. Similar. Then next just a second. Yeah. I do know. What is our assumption? Assumption have any what is our assumption in this small passage which consists of two sentences? In the above example, the assumption is Chinglen is unfit. Chinglen is unfit. He is unfit. This is an assumption never. And sigi aduna akoina kaino habida premise na premise na directly state toromani something kainoma fake ama or anything haitare affirmative statement on piramani aduga assumption haisina kaino habida based on the premise akoina we have the aziki the base toroga akoina true ne na akoina accept tobadone only for the purpose of the argument which follows. So makada have the sigi premise ki makada live argument that is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team manai. Chinglen is select Chinglen should not be selected. This is our argument. So Chinglen is select we have to assume that Chinglen is unfit. So Chinglen is unfit explicitly pande sisi akoina infer tawini inference ni kadai have the ani ji yenga haitare argument jina kaino Chinglen should not be selected in the team haiba potsi ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯨ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯕꯩ ꯁꯦꯂꯦꯛ ꯇꯧꯗ꯭ꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯀꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯝꯃꯤ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ unfit players progress hamper tawi aduna that is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team mana si ani ji pulap club tawdadi yaroi ko ani ji club tawdabi tongana yengma matamda koina Chinglen is unfit haibe yaroi ko aduna unfit players katang natabida atopa su mayam ama koina entire team the progress ta hadi for example let's say discipline yaudaba players sing su kaidoni have matamda ko discipline yaudaba players sing su progress of the entire team the hamper tawramba yaeba but adudu akoina sigi matang jidadi argument jida pusanba yabra yadeba ko aduna atopa akoina ga hypasing jallaga atopa akoina khanba myam ama pusanba ju yade sigi context jidadi unfit player is the kane criteria neba ko for kedoba hampering the progress of the team and that is also the same criteria for Chinglen kedoba to be kedoba not selected in the team. So do I like it? So that's assumption. Now let's proceed. Assumption ni matang kay lay ba? Inference ko. So let's do inference. Ko, what is an inference? So exactly kano haige ko na an inference is a logical statement. It is a logical inference. Why is the logical ke the way hay no mamang the pigriba premise to adudagi akoina logical oina infer to godane ko so a logical ke the process of drawing conclusion naita the correct my ke the definition of inference a logical process of drawing conclusion what is an inference? An inference is the logical process of drawing conclusion from a collection of the facts or data and the relationships such and the relationships and the relationships between them and the potential conclusions or probable conclusions but again probable with the potential and the potential conclusions so what is an inference? An inference is the logical process of drawing conclusion from a collection of facts or data and the relationships between them and the potential conclusion. So that is how we do inference. Inference is the process never. Example again we'll do the same example. Example in the previous example. So what is our previous example? Unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. That is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team. So the queen inference no hamatamda kay have the the inference inference to mamangida kamay so unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. That is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team. Can we say that Chinglen will hamper the progress of the entire team? Adwaina infer to wayabra. Yagadra Rahul Chauba Mahesh Josibanta adagi kay Chinglemba haro
Yani sir.
yani
Yes.
aduna Chinglen se can I say that we have the Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team and haibi abra Sanjana
Sir, after have you hold it?
sigisida in inference in ne haibi se Chinglen is going to hamper the entire team or Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team si sumaina infer to way agada haidi explicitly the pande dana sida isda ko unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. There is a reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team and I have never. So can I draw an inference that Chinglen is going to hamper
Sir, you posted Tade.
hello hello tarba
Tade, sir.
oh charge your maroi kan charge the whole train do yariba hajipod adam yariba voice
Oh, yeah, it is Tade.
okay durgati this is blue with ngali ko charge blue with mali batteries anyway fine. Unfit players should not be selected so high.
Target
Hello, yarba tarba. Hello, hello. Yarba tarba.
Tade.
Sir, tare. Okay, fine. Sigize keno yaudre, charge yaudre isu class to back label na adugi keno to hogdre ka. I'm sorry for that. Now, okay, fine. Now, yes, hazikta kanana no hangakpada. Sir, unfit player should not be selected so highway yagadra na. So inference niko. Inference the yes, unfit players should not be selected so highway niko. So in the previous example, you know have the kedoba and kai kautokrane. Sigizika unfit players hamper. Aduna Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team. GI. Chinglen is going to hamper the entire team or the progress of the entire team. Ma yaushanlakpana maram oiraga kayani moiji kayani kenodi tawdaba haitare keno sirje matek ama corporate sector da lerami as a quality analyst something like that. So tabak tawba matamsida colleague mayam haidi khara amna yamna tabak fazana sengna suba integrity yawarga awdagi khara amna sum haidi tawshanaraga tabak suba sajanaraga adum yamnadi kenodi oiba kaidi kani mine yengpade tabak yam surumdawdi manba aduga tabakti sudaba haitare haidi magi tawbam thokpado tawdabida adum adum tawar leibado adum yam aduain tawba misu dum lei haitare. So adudunadi teamwork ki heng akoina team gi target ama achieve tawrokpa matamda moiguma mi ma'am yawargadi akoi target si yau watli ngamgande aduga adugumba team haidi teamwork ta yam leibako sigumse aduna team zida fataba khara yawrokpa matamda afaba fanam yawarju team do dum lehawewa aduga team duda yam kana phaba yawdragasu loinamak chang amda faminaragadi adui team du nom karakkanibako something like that aduna noina FIFA gumba haidi football match gumba da yengasu fanam Messi thajangera Ronaldo thajangera natragana atopa anyone noina ngawsaba any player Modric thajangera ma thajangera Neymar thajangera atopa team member mayamduna yadragadi mangonda for example Ronaldo and Messi the pass pibidaba taragadi yaroina goal chanbado otherwise something like that. So again I som no chakre poche sidalaji so in the previous example Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team ko CC is an inference hai tare ko si ko ni inference infer to ko adu kanana nong sa hierarchy Josiban na hierarchy the unfit players should not be selected so hai be yagadra na so yes unfit players should not be selected so hai be yai kay the unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team ko aduna Chinglen should not be selected. See, the unfit players should not be selected. Higher is inference. That's very good. Ko. Just even the night is yeah. Another example of an inference. The president Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team. Ko. Okay, fine. So CC Swine is an inference. Is an inference based on the premise. Based on the premise. Ko. Ko. Based on the premise that unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. I see original kan by ka. So CG pull up. I know ka creator is copy to with them. Yeah, is hamper the progress of the entire team. Easy progress any ka. Progress of the entire team. CG sumay label ka. Juga macam tengah hap ka. And on the assumption that Chinglen is unfit. So it's very important or is it going to have the Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team. Base is an inference based on the premise that unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. And on the assumption that Chinglen is unfit. Adunadi, ako'y sige sida critical reasoning gi first three parts This is amuka punna yengase ko. Why first the the premise sama lermani ko. Premise sama lermani. Premise tuga matung da koina assumption nama koina kedoba the premise dagi safe oina assume to dini ko out di kai di kai ni ko. Koina assumption ji ta pang og lo sunya deba. Premise to base to dini ba. And inference to them kai the base to kan have the assumption the su base to kan ko. Premise plus assumption. Auna premise to laki haragadi in order to get into a premise which premise we don't have to get it will be there ka SISPREMISE ka. So premise it's already given. It's an affirmative statement that will be given in the passage, and from that passage from that statement we have to make a reasonable assumption ka akoina panglo lotion be ade ka assumption ji akoina chana the assumption lotion be ade yamna constructive oiba assumption logodamni abdi constructive have the ki keno the proper base of logical oiba assumption logodini and then uneasy layer kind of inference la kani ka aduna assumption ji assumption like the premise like the assumption like so in order to have an assumption you should first have a premise ka aduna haziga auna assumption is always preceded by a premise. Yantai guys, assumption is always preceded. An assumption is always preceded by a premise, or assumptions are always preceded by premises. Was preceded by premise, by a premise, by premise. ꯌꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯁꯦ? And then ꯁꯤꯒꯤꯁꯤꯗꯅ ꯀꯩꯗꯧꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ an inference or inference 하시라. An inference 하시라. Okay. Inference is always just see talking is always preceded by premise and assumption. And अखोइना premise तगी direct inference लाप यादेब यादाइको अदुदी assumption को sorry अदुदी inference को रोइबा कइनोदी कइनो हाबदा नंगना क्वाइ फर्स्ट ता premise अमा लेरनी premise सिदगी नंग assumption मचा होय सो assumption लॉरनी assumption दो अनी दुदगी अइने inference draw तोगदोइनेबको अदुना कइदोवी हाय मतमदा premise तगी direct inference लाप यादेबा premise तगी assumption अदुका premise assumption अनी दो लेर कान अइने inference अमा लौबा यानीबको अन assumption याउदबिदे अइना direct premise तगी inference लाप सुन्या यारोइबा ग्यान ताइको आइसे अउना ngasagi kedoba unfit players should not be selected ana kanana no ngasai haigibido josibanta na unfit players should not be selected su haiba yagadra an hai si se kedowi haiba matamda ko sigi si akoina inference oina loba yagadra sineba ko now unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team okay fine. That is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team and havenebako. Josibanda Naisina unfit players should not be selected in the team C in French oibra oidabra sinebako. So mayam Hainero unfit players should not be selected in the team C in French oibra oidabra. Kaigumba in what you have to bear in mind is inference premise already given the premise unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team now nangi assumption nama leibraba assumption do kai oiduno adu ani do layer matungda inference ne haiduneba ko so josibanta and ko others noi ge so hairo jikta noina jiki noina statement do kai no khangdragana kino da yengo check ta yengo ko unfit players should not be selected su haibe yagadai unfit players should not be selected say chizi inference hoibe yagadrana sura chairo hmm
अच्छा अमतक हंगिरोने क्वेश्चन हाइदि England should not be selected in the team influence over यादुरा हाइदुरा सा
natte Chinglen should not be selected have natte unfit players should not be selected have unfit players should not be selected say CC inference hoibe yagadra sinida
यागनी सा
yaganibuko so inference oige haragadi ai sigisi copy di am toning maniko inference oige haragadi kaino leigadamneba inference is always preceded by kari sisi am khanjan graba noida inference is always preceded by a premise and an assumption ko premise ke assumption gadi kai kai deba premise pudi yare premise kaino habda unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team that's the premise now what is the assumption assumption ama leitabdi yadeba gyan tabra tadabra sir haining is unfit players should not be selected haibane aduna noina unfit players should not be selected haisi as inference hoige haragadi premise amadi assumption ani hana laigadamni adu matamna again si pochine scientific oina naina baise gyan tabra ja sidaneba pochi am scientific oire is unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team di yare this is the premise but what is your assumption unfit players should not be selected in the team C. Kainoni have C. Chinglen is unfit ana haibinina aduduna kaini. C sida nogi assumption yaubra unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. Haibisi dagi noina unfit players should not be selected in the team C. Inference nena low yagadra sinida. Gyan tabra tadabra sir na hanging is that. Hello.
ꯇꯥꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯁꯥꯔ
Yadong mande sir chaw na hai yaden hai ko.
ꯑꯝꯇꯒ ꯍꯟꯕꯤꯔꯛꯑꯣ ꯁꯥꯔ ꯑꯩ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯂꯧꯁꯟꯕ ꯉꯝꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯁꯥꯔꯒꯤꯗꯣ
Option ngamdreba ko. Okay. In the previous example, Ken unfit players should not be selected. Be an inference. CC inference will be addressing in the certain hanging is. And the right answer is no. Inference will be arrival. Now, adudi kaigino sir kedoba yadrino ay matamda. Nasagi statement do. Aduda nangna my premise pudi le nangna assumption ji kamain low do no assumption lobum icha cha deva. Yan dai guys adudi let's see some other examples ko. Related to me ko. Some other examples. Of inferences can be number one the kay has gave the Chinglen Chinglen is ka Chinglen Chinglet and Elen Chinglen is considered for the team kind of have adra ka Chinglen okay was considered for the selection got to the team selection of the team to the team I mean preserver of the team be a member of the team selection of the team of to be a member of I have nobody here for Zerika. How the atopa the kaino have the Chinglen wanted to be a member of the team. Or to be a part of the team. Then hire CI. Sumain to dana sigumbazi quina kaino have the other examples of inference will be yaga doing buko. Now kaido ya duna have to kangbra kaino amatam the muigi assumption ji kaino have the Chinglen is unfit to never. Gantai guys assumption jina. Aduga premise to na kaino premise to na unfit players kedoba hamper the unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team hybra. Unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. So this is the premise. And what is the assumption? The assumption is Chinglen is unfit. Aduyaiba. Gantai ka. Assumption yaw the beginning si yadi unfit players should not be selected. Say, see inference will be yadeva. Aduniya see the scientific way is it. Yan tabra. Yar was it. You know. Ato okay, fine. Atay di tarbo. Mahesh, Rahul, Chauba.
Tayo, sir.
Tayo ko. Donaldson, Chinglen, Odagi, Sanjana, Tarbo. Okay, yung pram hong tise. Tayo ko. Lemba. Tayo sir. Tayo ko ma. Lemba sila. Video lemba ka. So anyway, adaway like doon ko. Next, kuina kay daw sige. I'm sorry. Kaya nam jalure sinero. Mathangda, let's do what's the conclusion? Conclusions in a kind of have the it's a final proposition. Okay, has again of the a conclusion is a final proposition which is arrived at after the consideration of evidence. See, evidence, EVIDENC, after the consideration of evidence, assumptions, and even or premises has I did loinam yawm have a late I do not or premises. So that's conclusion. Yeah, a conclusion. Again, conclusion is very important. A conclusion is what the author of the passage or whoever or is what the author is the author of the passage okay, author of an is what the author of an argument arrives at following the following the premise, then following the premise, then the facts, the data given, means the data given, the assumptions made, and the inferences drawn. Aduna, we have that. In the previous example, okay, as you got in the previous example, can I have the Chinglen should not be selected. Chinglen should not be selected in the team Hijra. Is the conclusion. This is the conclusion. Now it's very scientific cost. Guesswork, unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. There is the reason Chinglen should not be selected in the team and I have name. Mana si is link up to maneva. So now Chinglen should not be selected in the team conclude to now see in a conclude we see it has to be preceded by or it has to follow certain premise, certain assumption, certain inference. Chinglen should not be selected in the team the premise premise unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. Then premise ki assumption. Assumption assumption Chinglen is unfit. Then again, inference inference Chinglen is going to hamper the whatever is going to hamper the progress of the entire team. That's an inference. So adume am dukuin nainer matungda conclusion Chinglen should not be selected in the team is a reasonable conclusion haita. Sumaito conclusion ji lakadune ko. Auna a conclusion is always preceded by this ado I the higher mean I do hierarchy ko. I think a conclusion is what the author of an argument arrives at following the premise, the data given, the assumptions made, and the inferences drawn. Data is plural ni ko. Data are different types of data, but data itself is plural. So, sir na sida haining isi kenoto bra gyan tabra.
Nice.
There we go. Okay, fine. Suraj, yeah, bra, Chauba, Sanjana.
Sir, inference matando ang tahanbiro.
Inference na kaino have the aine yamna reasonable oiba kaino nebo ko kaheni masagi reasonable oiba condition sing neba aduga akoin always scientific when yenge hargadi inference mamangda aine inference ama draw tawge hargadi premise ama laigani aduga assumption ama laigani ba. So premise ka assumption ka ani do the base or ga inference lakani ba. Yan tabra. So Chinglen was considered for the selection of the team kaise. It's a possible inference. It's a probable inference, potential inference. Chinglen wanted to be a member of the team. This is an inference. You know, all these two inferences are based on the premise and the assumption. So premise you know, unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team. This is the premise. Now, what's my assumption? See, an easy inference will get Chinglen though is unfit. Chinglen is unfit is an assumption. And that guys, yeah. Where is inference? Where is assumption? In the above example, the assumption is Chinglen is unfit. On the same premise, same assumption, but we have the inference can be many you know the any inference makal lobi makal zi sigi zi anisi kaidela have the unfit players hamper the progress of the entire team and higher ni dana the Chinglen is unfit is an assumption adu dusle any ani do club torgaina Chinglen do madu kaidawi have matam the Chinglen was considered for the selection of the team habiaba Chinglen to consider the torum me ado mado unfit oibana maram oiraga madu kahene madu select roidabani or select or whatever. But I don't know the Chinglen do team do the Yawning Kaisi, it's an inference never. Yantai Gaisa based on a premise and an assumption. Aduna Sanjana Sarana Haning Izika no Hamatam da. Always we have to be very scientific about Kedoba aptitude. Aptitude Sida Quina Kayani Hamatam da Magi Nasagi Sarana Haning Izika no. First the premise there. Premise given ni ko premise to true ne lo du ni aina si chumra ne ka na ga mu aina knowledge ng panjan ba khemia de ko author no na premise and pyramid is universal truth within the framework of the passage to give any universal truth oi de ne ba premise ko then of the premise ta gi di kai lani ha matam da premise ta gi kai lani assumption lani aina khara assume tor assumption premise assumption layer kan inference lai du ne ba uneasy like an inference lay then ahumzi layer matung kay lay diba conclusion lay duniba in a premise tagi direct conclude to sunya ko premise layer gani premise layer ni then assumption layer ni then inference layer ni they in a final conclusion ji peer ni final conclusion ji hai ba mamangi ahum do layer kan the katang ka conclusion ji lay biya duniba gyan tai ta de tai ko aina have the inference to adudu aina conclude to san ge na hairaka duniba ananga sa ina inference kay na matam da inference to the mari laina na ina conclusion ji sema ka dunia ba auna Chinglen is going to hamper the progress of the entire team is an inference and conclusion ji aduga mari laina na haita Chinglen should not be selected in the team and I guys adu aina hire ka dunia inference khatang da gi conclusion lakadam ni have di natte moi ahum mak change ba ko inference tang ye ngai na conclude to budi ngam moi ba gen ta right on pull up si adu ahum mak ti lai gadam ne ba conclusion na magi mamang da nang na kayo mak conclude to ra ga di adu gi inference kai no ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯀꯗꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯏꯟꯐ꯭ꯂꯨꯌꯦꯟꯁꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯖꯨꯝꯁꯟꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯀꯗꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯃꯤꯁꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯀꯗꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯇꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯅꯪ ꯀꯟꯀ꯭ꯂꯨꯖꯟ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯕ ꯒ꯭ꯌꯥꯟ ꯇꯥꯏꯀꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯤ ꯂꯣꯏ ꯈꯦꯠꯅꯩꯌꯦꯕ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯦꯃꯤꯁꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯖꯨꯝꯁꯟꯅ ꯀꯩꯅോ ꯏꯟꯐ꯭ꯂꯨꯌꯦꯟꯁꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯀꯟꯀ꯭ꯂꯨꯖꯟꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯝꯇ ꯃꯥꯟꯅꯗꯦꯕ ꯁꯤ ꯃꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯗꯤꯁꯇꯤꯡ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯈꯥꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯈꯪꯕ ꯉꯝꯒꯗꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯎꯕ ꯉꯝꯒꯗꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯆꯞ ꯃꯥꯟꯅꯩꯅ ꯄꯨꯟꯁꯤꯜꯂꯒꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯁꯣꯏꯔꯅꯦꯕ ꯒ꯭ꯌꯥꯟ ꯇꯥꯕ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯁꯥꯔꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤꯡꯉꯤꯁꯦ
Tá, sir.
Okay, now, okay, fine. So we have some 10 to 15 minutes ko. Aduna another example ang pige ko. Let's say question the ko. ꯑꯩ ꯍꯥꯟꯅ ꯐꯖꯅ ꯀꯣꯄꯤ ꯇꯧꯊꯣꯛꯑꯝꯒꯗꯕꯅꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯀꯣꯄꯤ ꯄꯦꯁ ꯇꯧ ꯌꯥꯅꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯩ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯣ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯤꯄꯦꯌꯔ ꯇꯧꯒꯦ ꯇꯧꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯩ ꯇꯧꯍꯧꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯀꯩꯒꯤꯅꯣꯗꯤ ꯉꯁꯤ ꯑꯌꯨꯛ ꯈꯛꯇꯪ ꯈꯪꯕ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁ ꯇꯧꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ just a second. Recruitment managers ko dislike candidates. Ay, sir, ngasi sir interview le. Okay, anyway, dislike candidates who anyway, who are not punctual and who arrive and who arrive late for interviews. ꯁꯤꯁꯤꯃꯗꯤ ꯁꯨꯡꯌꯥ ꯌꯥꯗꯦꯀꯣ ꯏꯟꯇꯔꯚ꯭ꯌꯨꯗ ꯏꯟꯇꯔꯚ꯭ꯌꯨꯋꯔꯗꯨ ꯉꯥꯏꯍꯜꯂꯒ ꯊꯝꯕ ꯀꯥꯏꯁꯤ ꯁꯨꯡꯌꯥ ꯌꯥꯗꯦ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯃꯈꯨꯠꯇꯅꯤ ꯏꯟꯇꯔꯚ꯭ꯌꯨ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗꯗꯤ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯂꯥꯏꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯀꯣꯔꯠ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯖꯠꯁꯅ ꯂꯥꯏ ꯑꯣꯏꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅꯀꯣ hence it is unlikely that kaidoba let's say nupi ama haisiko yamna popular oiba nupi ama maming ama hairo manipurda thoibi ga haisila hairo kay haige to
Soma,
ha
Soma,
kay haino hojikito soma hairo kaino
Soma hai sir.
soma
Oh sir.
okay soma haige aina mamang soma haige ro class ta okay isn't thoibi okay so surajna handokre surajna haidor hence it is unlikely that kedoba soma will be selected for the team will be selected for the team yare ko so sisi yalasi or aina team mai gaino for the job hai ko ai ngasai wakhandu sum lei for the job today anyway these have to yabadi hai kaina in lokthokni pochina lokthoraptraga lokthoi the pochina lokthore okay so sisi paba horo ko paba horo aduga mathang tokthorasi ko puna hai tai yam kui devida for the job today yare ko so now premise ka yodina sida what is the premise? Premise C, recruitment managers dislike candidates who are not punctual and who arrive late for interviews. Yeah, record. This is the premise. See you later on this. Who are not punctual and who arrive late for interviews. God, this is the premise. Now, okay, fine. Now, mathangda aina premise ki mathangda kai now assumption. Natra. So, what can be a possible assumption? Namko magtre. Soma Soma is going to be late, or Soma will be late for the interview. This is an assumption never. Yan data de. Huh? This thing. Okay. Soma was late. Hi tam niko. Soma was late for the interview. Ma ngasi interview ze ma adu thiengi ba. Ko. Ma thieng ni sat ki ba dun mai chance am name e khalak pagi ko. And premise le assumption le then inference. Inference ki kai bi inference mayam wi bi no inference ama hairo. Tana ba inference ama. Suraj, okay. Hoi. Okay, Suraj, you may leave now. Atopa, hairo. Chauba, Sanjana, Josipanta, Chinglen, Donaldson, Rahul, hairo. Mahesh Suraj kazi thamad tenulay bagim tenutorom again hire ko. So inference kay wi bi inference mayam wi bi ko inference ama hairo. Kay you know hack tiza. Inference kay wi gani hai mato hire. Late. Yeah, late is an inference. Yeah, that's okay. But any inference to late we do combine or we know have the one cop. So akoina kai have I have the inference the recruitment manager. The recruitment manager will probably dislike Soma because she was late and ago. Because she was late. Sumaina. So, CC moine explicitly pande ko. Tomazi tiengi na. Adubo, kedoni have the queen CC, magi passage par kan infer to raine ko. Auna, quite first the premise mahan legadamni, premise layer ba layer, matang the assumption legadamni, assumption layer ba layer, matang the kay legani inference laini, inference in a kay de lowry no have the uneasy low in ko. Soma was late for the interview is an assumption. Now, Soma will not be liked ID any to the recruiter side. Inference the recruitment manager will probably dislike Soma because she was late. I don't know. Because she was late, assumption inference should be based on a premise and an assumption. Uneasy late in inference, low we are river. Yan taita de taiko. So okay, now let's come to our conclusion. Conclusion si ma'am si yang haro kai have conclusion ja Soma gi matang da Soma ji thabak si khan gadra khaloi huh? Soma will not be selected for the job haitare ko. Yeah, so this is the conclusion. Aduna kaisa kare ma'am. Anyway, fine. Yeah. So, Chauba yariba, Sanjana yariba, Donaldson.
Yes.
Yeah, Lisa.
Yariko. Queen and Sigi is the net. I see you high to yeah. So, recruitment man ai last one amtanga hange ko aduga ngasi gi oina di critical reasoning gi sigi adum mai di kene chawrapam nei na gre hayeng amuka phana continue to ko ai aduga sigum mayam je copy paste to ba na ba ai word format natraga ai notes ta or keep ta hana ban copy to thomge ba ajik swain sum keno to na je matam yam mange ba ko ana recruitment managers dislike candidates who are not punctual and who arrive late for interviews. So this is the premise, and hence it is unlikely that Soma will be selected for the job today. The same thing, see, my hands am it's a the conclusion ki type the man pyramid ko. So do the queen sumaina rewrite to ini Soma will not be selected for the interview for the job. Now, see conclusion ji kai the kai do bila in this conclusion has to be based on premise, assumption, and inference. On a premise, premise the given statement as it is now. And what is the assumption? Assumption Soma is most unlikely to be selected. Soma must be late. So Soma was late for the interview is an assumption. Assumption ne ma thing ne assume to ne kuina ko kain ma khan be chance am name am ne ma shoidum ki thengam mane yan ta ma punctual oidre ma matam chana yaude ba yai ko then inference na kaino habda inference di ma khan da id ma recruitment manager na atheng ma mi ji pamdre and Soma do thenge ani do punjal laga inference kai sembe I have the recruitment manager na Soma do pamaroi ba thabak tu gi the recruitment manager will probably dislike Soma because she was late. Yeah, so because she was late, the recruitment manager will probably dislike Soma. She don't hire she yaiba. Gyan tai kwaisa. Kai you know this has been inferred from the premise and the assumption. Now, what can be our possible conclusion? Soma will not be selected for the job. This has to be our possible conclusion. Sidai hen atopadi yararoi ko conclusion gi oinadi. So premise study atopanang sagadasu yani ko but conclusion di amakhak le ni sisi gi oina Soma will not be selected as. Gyan tai ta de ma'am. Tabra.
Nice.
Okay, fine. So ngasi gi sidalo shalasi ko ma'am. Have a great day ahead and thank you for the class. Thank you.